Nobody's here yet.
Counting the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hello, Weezy.
11, 12,
Susan.
13.
Glamorosi
14,
Cooks.
14, 15, 16, 17.
There's other people I
18,
cannot see you. I'm sorry. IAPS Pastel is here.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23,
Mr. Hance.
25, 6, 27, 28, 29. 25 weeks? What about that? 25. Ah, merci. Génial. 25 weeks.
Catherine, Matteo.
Ah, Matteo! Bonjour! Matteo, one of my first fan. Welcome back. Catherine, I'm counting the week, but I get distracted. I think I'm counting 25 weeks, but we'll see. Alors,
Olga.
you are ready? What is the time, boss?
It is
Two minutes?
2:02. I think we can give it another minute or so.
Okay, so please, come in. Share, tell people to come. All right, we have a special guest. It's gonna be fun, and very exciting.
Oh, Vered and Valerie Collymore joined at the exact same time.
The V's.
Cindy is here, our friends at Art Creations Chattanooga.
Ah, right. Yes, I love them. And Vered and Valérie at the same time. Valérie, bonjour.
She says bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour. You know, Valérie was in a great impressionist painter. I just saw one of your latest videos. It's fantastic. So Valérie Collymore, she rocks. And then
Is that the video we posted?
I'm sorry?
Is that the video that we posted?
I believe we posted it. You know, I'm not good at posting. So, and then Vered, you know, I threatened Vered to invite her sometime to tell us about her invisible, if she can show the invisible. It's always been a fantasy of mine to see the invisible. So what do you say?
I think we may begin.
Okay. So, ready? 1, 2, 3. Bonjour! This is Pierre at Pierre's Adventure, at Savoir-Faire, but anyway, here we are in Novato, California, you know, in Marin County. We have been pretty smoky around here because we've had fires, West Marin, North Marin, and all around us, so it's been a little scary. We had, you know, back to back, I mean, not back to back, actually, at the same time, the corona and the fire. So it's a lot. So on that, I was just trying to count, just wanted to remind you about the situation. We started this live, so I'm sorry for the people who hear that every week, but I feel compelled to say it because this is why I started this live. We started this live with Andrew, is remind you, March 16, shelter in place, COVID arrived, boom. We closed, everything's shut down, no one knew what was going on. And then when we came through, decided to do a live to get you all guys, to get our community of artists, you know, together, to tell that we're here, we are live. And thanks to art is essential. We are all connected, and that's what I want. Every week we have it's like having a little party every week where everybody can share. And I know you don't see all of one another, like I don't see you, but I think you can exchange, you give little notes to one another. So welcome back, and here's here where we are. So art is fundamental, it's essential. You know, we give a lot of art away, art supplies, and it reunites people. It's good for the community, it's good for your soul, it's good for everything. So art is good for you. So now, 25 weeks. Can you believe it? Crazy. So now, one thing I wanted to show, because Maureen, many of you know Maureen, was just saw that, bought a bunch of stamps, you know, a lot of artsy stamps. And you guys know that the post office is a little bit in trouble, and we want you to buy stamps. And what we do, I'm thinking of an idea. We have a beautiful card from Mediovalis, and I'm thinking about an idea how we will donate cards to the artist who would buy stamps and to send artwork or notes and all that. So I'm thinking of something, but I want to support the post office. We need it. And instead of everything email, I think it's time to send postcards, artwork, greeting cards, again, love notes, and all that. So just a side note. I think today it's very exciting. You all have heard about, is there a comment or something?
No, well, our good friend Alexandra has joined from Portugal. Valerie is here.
Okay.
Laurent is here, and
Laurent.
he says it's Labor Day weekend on the East Coast. So where's your glass of wine?
I have green for oil. Portugal, but she's coming every time. It's late for you in Portugal, but thank you for joining. It's so late. So anyway, today we have a very special guest, the president, I believe, of the Oil Pastel of America.
No, oil painters.
Oil painters, no, Oil Pastel, yeah. We don't have an Oil Pastel of America. Oil Painters of America, OPA, which I was involved right at the beginning. I think it was in the mid-90s where I met, and honestly I forgot. I think it was in Texas somewhere. I met, maybe it was Shirley or something. But anyway, I'm not sure. And then, but for the last few years, thanks to Andrew behind the camera, we've been much more active, and I'm so glad to be able to welcome the president today. So I think we should go on, because instead of me talking about Oil Painters of America, I think, she'll be much better off. So
we are going to invite Suzie on with us, Suzie Baker. I sent her an invite, so we'll have to wait one moment.
Should I try to follow?
Oh, Suzie is here.
Let me try to see so I can see her.
So Suzie, even when Pierre gets his phone going, he'll have a little bit of a delay. So forgive him if he sees what you're saying. It'll take a second.
Okay.
Voila, live. Here you are.
Hey,
the sound down. Yes. So exactly what you said. So I'm gonna not look at you as I talk to you because it's very confusing. So I'm gonna look at the camera, but occasionally I look at you so I can see your beautiful face and the expression to make sure you're happy and smiley and interested. So welcome to Pierre's Live, or Savoir-Faire Live, I don't know how we call it, and I'm very glad. And I'm sorry we haven't seen each other lately. This year we didn't come, Andrew, but I think I remember we saw each other. When was that? Was it in Laguna Beach or something?
Yep, Laguna Beach. You had a studio open house there right off of the road going up to the canyon, and got to try some paints. And yeah, actually, I tried them there, and Andrew mailed me some, and I've been working today with some of your paints and special colors. So I'll turn that around eventually and show you what's on my easel.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah. So now I remember it comes back. I think it was at Deborah Passwater and all that. And I was in Laguna Beach for the La Papa. I think it was there. And I was actually giving a lecture with Jean Stein.
Yeah.
To give a lecture on Impressionism. We were both on stage. It was quite remarkable. And Deborah did a party at her studio, and a few of you came. Is that the event?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We did a wine and paint party in her studio. So great. Yep. So anyway, before we talk, and thank you, we'd love to see your work and with our paint. It's very, very nice of you. But before that, a couple of things. Would you mind telling us a little bit about you? Like many of our friends here, always like to know a little bit the personal. And if I can maybe give you an open question, like how did you become an artist? What was the inspiration to be an artist? Tell me a little bit about your story.
You know, I like so many people, just always loved art, had to have a career centered around art. When I was in college, or when I was in high school, I talked to the guidance counselor and she said, "Are you going to college?" And I said, "I want to." And she said, "Well, what are you interested in?" I said, "Art." And she said, "Well, Louisiana Tech has a good program." I grew up in central Louisiana, a very rural, kind of poor area. And that was my college research. And I got really fortunate in that the university I went to had an excellent art department, and had a teacher in particular, Peter Jones, had us painting outdoors. We always painted from life. I had great oil instruction. My degree was in advertising because that was pragmatic, and like so many artists, I started in a career in advertising. There's, you know, many that go into architecture or something related so that we can be in that field, but always painted. Really came to love oil paints when I was in college. And in 2008, I sort of hit a reset button in my life, and I started painting full time and doing as little advertising as possible. So that's my story. And then got involved with Oil Painters of America in 2013. So this is my 6th or 7th year to be on the board. And COVID hits, and that's my presidency hits off running. And we've had to plan A, B, and C, all of our events for the year. But everybody else has to, so we're adjusting with everyone else.
So great. And we will do everything we can to make your presidency shine, you know, and live, virtual, you know, it's the passion, the love of art that prevails. So we'll try. It's not the same as hanging out together and stuff, but we'll do our best. And on that note, I'd like to know a little bit how you're going to manage that. And I think you have a few events coming up, and we'd love to participate. I have to discuss with Andrew on what form we're going to help participate and be there. We want to be there with you. Would you mind telling us a couple of what's going to happen, how you're going to manage your events and stuff coming up, please?
Yeah, well, thank you, Pierre, and Savoir-Faire too, because you've always been a big supporter of Oil Painters of America, and this year is no different. So you're still reaching out, and we're still doing events. We've already had our salon show and the awards for that, and our Western show was picked up by Jane Bellmeyer with a Loom Gallery, and she's doing that virtually, and that's going really well, and we've had our awards there. And now we have our national show, which is hung in Fredericksburg, Texas, in Hannah Gallery. It looks great. If anybody is in the area and wants to go by, you can just go in the gallery with your mask. You can also make an appointment. You can see all of the paintings online. If you're a member of Oil Painters of America, you got the catalog. This is Rose Franson's work on the cover. She's our judge. Yep, I think you guys have one too. And then also, if you remember, there it is. So the show has been judged, but the winners have not been announced yet. They will be announced on the 10th. So that is a week from today. Wait, that's not right. The 10th is Thursday night. So a week from yesterday. And so normally what we do is we have our national show. People come from all over, and they participate in our convention. Speakers, demo artists, we talk about the business of art, all sorts of things that artists and professional artists need. But of course, this year we're all in the same boat, and we are, this is our Plan C. And so what we have done is we've moved to a virtual convention. But really exciting is that right after our announcement of the awards for the national show, which is on a Thursday night, the 10th, the 11th and 12th, we're doing an international virtual wet paint competition. So if you had been an artist who attended our national show, then we would have had a wet paint competition where OPA set up models. We would arrange still life fodder. We would have, we had ranches lined up that you could go out and paint plein air. Whatever kind of oil painter you are, we were all painting together, shoulder to shoulder. And then that was judged. So that's out the window. We can't do that. But we were thinking, why don't we still have our wet paint competition, but open it up, not just to OPA members, but international participants and non-OPA members. So that's what we're doing. We have artists from all over the world participating, from Iran and I think Qatar and England, and I think you are lining up someone for France, right? You're
Yes,
sponsoring someone.
I heard about that, and we'll talk about this further off live. But yes, Andrew mentioned that, and we have a few ideas. So yes,
Yeah.
we'd love to have a French artist or other European. You know, I can with Italy, France, Austria, different countries with whom we have a very strong relation.
Yeah.
And also, just want to let you know, not it's late, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've had the opportunity to do a couple of, more than a couple, a few, you know, virtual convention already this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised how well it was received. I gave a couple of lectures on different subjects like Impressionism or different things. And it turned out to be very exciting. It was a big success, you know. I did it at a plein air convention, something. Anyway, I don't want to talk about other organizations right now, but it was very successful. So we would love to participate, and we'll offline we'll discuss more. But there's a lot of ideas, and I
did that with you. Yeah, I did plein air live with you. Did a demo. I think we're going to find that one of the best things that come out of this is that we had to put down all of our busyness and all the events that we're doing. And even for me, once I was able to get through March and start thinking, okay, I'm stuck at home, I'm not doing any of my events, OPA is having to go virtual on a lot of our things. So we all started to learn, and we started to connect online. And, I sort of immediately took some thought of my friends who are great painters and what I wanted to learn from them. And I watched a David Divil video on Sentient Academy, and I watched Zufar Bikbov do a Nocturne, and then we started teaching. OPA started doing lunch and learns. So if you're a member, or even if you're not a member, you can register for a lunch and learn, and we're getting all of this really good information, and that is what our convention is going to be. But the wet paint competition, that again is open to anybody, which also $20,000 in cash and prizes just for that. And we're going to be Facebook Live checking in with people all over the globe, like in groups. You're going to be able, if you want to, you can show us what's on your easel. I am going to have one of my models come in on that Friday, and we'll sit far enough apart where it's safe, and then I'll be opening the thing, and I think we're opening up with people in Spain. I'm going to be checking in with Dowd Akriv, and we're getting those people that are in Europe early on, and I think it's just, it's going to be an experiment. It's going to be fun, and we already have, hundreds of people signed up, so it's going to be a way that we can be connected, we can paint together, we can give people an excuse to get at their easel. And there are a few rules, though. So in keeping with the spirit of the wet paint competition, it needs to be wet paint. It needs to be painted over the 2 days of the event, which is the 11th and 12th. That's a Friday and Saturday. You don't have to paint both of those days, but and then we're going to have you take pictures of your easel with your subject matter, some work in progress shots, 3 of them, along with your final entry piece. So you can sign up through our website, oilpaintersofamerica.com. If you Google that, it'll be the first thing that you see, an opportunity to click and register for that. The other thing is that it's very affordable. So for $75 if you're an OPA member, and $125 if you're international or non-OPA member, you get to participate not just in the wet paint competition, but have all 3 days of the virtual convention, which will be the following Thursday, kicking off with the award ceremony for the wet paint competition, and then the Friday, Saturday. Anyway, we got it all lined up. You can find all of the speakers and details. And you guys are going to have some people painting. I think you guys are giving us free stuff to give. Well, not free stuff. You are giving stuff that we can give away as awards.
So that's great. So
yeah.
it sounds like you have your act together. So congratulations. Something I wanted to say, because it started a lot of those associations, societies, school, teachers, and all that move. And I'm very impressed. And that's very American, by the way, you know, the way to, you know, go back on your feet and, you know, defeat the challenges out there. And I'm very impressed of most, if not all my friends stepped up and learning how to do live, how to film themselves. You know, here, the people here, Valerie, turn around, came up with a very sophisticated way to do her classes, you know, Natalia was live, Shayna, you know, all our friends, the Southern Atelier who was there, you know, Charlie. It's quite remarkable. And what I take away from that, it's not just a replacement. Hopefully, we'll get back to also touchy, feel, and real thing. But I think something came out of, there is additional, it's a different experience. It's not just a replacement. And I found that there's things we can discover virtually, the virtual experience have also some benefit. More people can have access more easily and all that. So we shouldn't look at it as only a replacement. It's also good on its own. So I'm looking forward to participate in your event.
Right. Yeah, we were all forced to learn to do things. But you know, Pierre, imagine if we didn't have this technology, even if this were 10 years ago. I think if we're trying to count our blessings or look for the positive side, it's that it happened in 2020 and not 2010, or, you know, because
there was no
available to us, right, where we can feel connected. Yeah.
All right. So now we chat, but you know, often our friends and guests and all that, they like also to go deep. So maybe it's a good time for you to show your work, your artwork, your colors, and if you want to say about the experience, and you know, so go ahead. Unless there is question, is so far so good. No
questions yet.
You're so clear and so organized that you say all those great information, and people got it. No question. That's
if they have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And any questions about OPA, or, you know, I mean, within reason, I don't think I can answer why, you know, life questions, but all right, I'm going to see if I can just tilt my thing down here. So, all right, this is my studio. Here's my little palette. And I was wanting to try some new colors of yours. So this is the Chinese orange. Let's see. So that, I had a really warm photograph that I took of a kind of a cowboy, and I wanted to try some of these on that. And so here's your blue azure. Yeah, it's pretty color. And then you mailed me some other things, and then I'm trying for the first time your green. What is this? Green for oil. It's a gel medium, so non-toxic. All right, let's see. And then here is what, I think I'm gonna have to take my thing down.
Me, I'm gonna create my palette as we speak.
Here's my painting that I'm working on. Are you using those same colors?
Yeah, so just for sure, just to explain, because people sometimes wonder, I'm fully concentrated on what you say, but I like to also, when you talk about colors, I'm just going to doodle as you speak, but just it helps me to concentrate and to play, have fun. I'm not showing any technique or anything. I just like to play. For me, it's very ludique, you know, it's just a game. I love to touch and feel those colors. So don't pay attention about my artwork. I'm just fooling around. So
Okay.
go ahead, and that you are the expert and the artist. So go ahead.
Suzie, we had a question come up.
Sure.
Somebody asked if you can tell us why art competitions are important for artists, or why you feel it's beneficial to join events and art organizations. What do you think the benefits are for beginning artists?
Okay, I have an answer for that. So let me put my thing back in the tray here. I'm a working professional artist. And even before I was involved in Oil Painters of America, I saw entering competitions initially as you're sort of finding your footing and comparing yourself and your work to other artists and entering shows. You can kind of start local and then start working up the food chain, so to speak, of competitions. So there's a number of reasons that you want to do that. One is it allows you to gauge your work against other artists. So when I was only comparing my work to my community or the people around me, then I gauged myself at one level. And then when I went to my first national show with Oil Painters of America, you know, I was here and then found out that the work of look, I'm up here at top of Pierre's head. The level of artwork that was being produced in the United States I had some work to do. And so even though I got a piece in that competition, I saw what was being produced and really it soberly put me in my place of what did I need to do to get from where I was to where I wanted to be, or where the level of the work that was being produced in the United States. So that's one reason. And let me encourage you too, if you enter shows, whether that's through OPA or AIS or Bold Brush or what have you, if it's a physical show, whether you get in or not, I think especially if you don't get in, try to go to the show and have that same sort of experience that I did. And then the other way that I look at the expense that it cost me for membership in some of these organizations like OPA, like AIS, Portrait Society, you know, I see that as a marketing expense, because if I get a piece in the show, if I win an award, then that gives me visibility. And it's visibility that you can get apart from paying for an advertisement. Or it gives you something to post on Instagram. Another reason that I can think of why you want to enter competitions is you're setting yourself a bar with a deadline. And there's nothing, if you're like me, there's nothing like a deadline to really motivate you. For instance, I knew I was going to be talking to Pierre today, and I have some Sennelier paints that I was wanting to try out. And I could be sitting over there at my computer doing my books, answering email, working on setting up my LLC, or fiddling around with my website, or I could do what I really want to be doing and be at my easel. And so I'm like, okay, I have a deadline to get at my easel. Well, competitions can do that too. So, all right, long-winded answer to that question.
Well, there's a follow-up question to that, indeed. So a few people mentioned the fear and anxiety or not having the guts to enter competition. And our friend Cindy made a very good point. She says that she understands that a lot of women especially are hesitant about joining competitions and overcoming that. Do you have any comments there?
I have lots of comments on that. So I'm now the president of Oil Painters of America. And one of the things that we looked at was, this is going to be a roundabout answer to that question too, but I promise I'll get to it.
You're free. It's a free speech live.
Yeah. So when Oil Painters of America first started setting up their master distinction, many artists were invited to become masters. And many of those masters, in fact, most of those masters from the very beginning were men. And maybe there was about 3 women. So right from the very beginning, 25 years ago, and we're about to be a 30-year-old organization, we were very outweighed men to women in our master category. So now our signature category, which is a difficult level moniker to achieve, is really 50-50. And so this kind of gets around to answering your question. What we found is that every September or so, it's open application for our signature members to apply for mastery. Now, mastery is a high bar. It ought to be a high bar. But what we found was that men, even though our signatures are 50-50, men were applying far more than women were applying. And then men were much more likely as well to get rejected, but apply again, get rejected, but apply again. So working on their craft and not sort of taking it to heart. So I couple that with an article that I read. It was a massive research study that LinkedIn did. I want to say there was like 150,000 job applications that they researched. And what they found was that men needed to feel like they were about 50% or 60% qualified for a job to apply. And women felt like they needed to be about 100% qualified to apply. So to the question of feeling nervous about putting yourself out there, is I think you just need to hear from me. Put yourself out there. Begin seeing yourself and your work as something that you want to be, that you want feedback from, and maybe that starts small with your local art leagues or local art competitions, but don't hold back. Don't see it as a waste of money. See it as a marketing opportunity, and just do it. And you're going to learn a lot from your rejections too. In fact, I know Raymond Kinsler recently passed away, and he had an anecdote that he would show very often at the Portrait Society. And he had a painting that he entered in a show, and he was just flat out rejected for it. And so on his mantle, he had the rejection letter right next to the best of show letter when he entered that same piece in another competition. And not only did it get in, but it won with best of show. So, art can be fickle. One judge can dismiss something while another one thinks it's worthy of the best of show. But unless you're putting yourself out there, you're not getting that feedback, and you're not challenging yourself in some ways. Not everybody wants to be a professional artist or needs that. Sometimes they just paint for enjoyment. But if you're thinking about competitions, then do it.
Yeah, no. So I can second that. Honestly, it's a little. Originally, before this country, I was more thinking, art school, fine art school, museum, big galleries, and all that. And those competition was a little new for me. But I learned a lot about how those competition, those awards, those things are very useful for the career of an artist. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. The challenge, it's always like in anything, could be in sports, in any kind of thing, a little competition, mm-hmm. It's good. It kicks you in the butt, mm-hmm. and you want the achievement, you want to compete. So that's very good. But also the sense of challenge. It's true when you have the deadline. I think that's very important, because often art for many it's like a secondary career, or it's like a hobby or a leisure activity. So you can not take it too seriously. That gets you engaged, and then you get into the mode, and then can lead to become a career. And the one thing you didn't mention, maybe you did, I didn't. So these days, that's the part which is difficult, and we're trying to reproduce with those live and virtual, is the camaraderie. I've been following many associations. I've been giving keynotes. I've been on the board. I mean, all those from pastel to watercolor to oil. it's remarkable. We have something very, very precious about the camaraderie in those society, in those. So I know it doesn't answer the competition exactly, but often the competition, it's within a group. You have peers and you have those convention and the friendship that I see, I observe friendship that lasts decades, you know, of those people. So I think that's a very essential sense of community as well.
Now, we had another question come up, still in regards, I believe, to the competition. Does OPA have any scholarships or grants to encourage artists from underprivileged or underrepresented communities?
We do. We have a scholarship that I'm not sure when you apply for it, but the scholarships are for attending workshops. So you can get on the OPA website and look for our resources. If you can't find it, you can just email us through our website. We have an amazing staff that can get right back to you. We also have a student category, and so the student membership is less expensive and students to attend and participate. So one of the big things is the scholarship that you can apply to any workshop that you want to take, and that's by applying. So, and you know, it's, I think a lot of times we hold ourselves back from applying for things. And I have 2 college-age kids, and one of the things I tell them is that, you know, it could be you. You could be the one that gets it. So apply, put yourself out there if there's something you really want.
All right, so very good. Yes, scholarship, and we want, and you know, I don't have formal scholarship, but we do, as many of you know, we really go out of our way, not out of our way, I mean, it's our way to give a lot of art supplies to not all, we can, not yet all, to many of those underserviced community people, and is so good for them. So anything we can do, so scholarship, if some of those people can take workshop with you, we'll donate the art supplies. Ha! Voilà.
Yay.
Now, I think Suzie was going to talk a little bit more about her painting.
Yes, let's go back to your painting. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come back to, please.
So I'm just getting started. I'd say I'm about 2.5 hours into this. Let me turn this around here. So I'm in my studio here. I have my I have a few video lights set up. Those are trained on me right now so that I look okay. But normally they're kind of looking at my my easel. Actually, if you want to know anything about those lights, Dave Santianes did a really excellent blog for Oil Painters of America talking about studio lighting. It was a very popular blog. So you could just Google Oil Painters of America studio lighting and likely find it. But, you know, this is me sort of getting started. You can see very unfinished areas that go right down to my canvas.
Wow.
And
you did that in 2 hours?
Yeah. And I have, let's see. So my little workspace here, let's see if my computer will turn on. I've got my my picture set up where I've cropped it and done some color retouching, and yeah, and then I can just set up my easel. I'm actually in the process of designing a studio. I figured if I'm stuck at home, I'll start thinking about this big project. But I try to be pretty loose and painterly with my work. I like the way this is going. You know, it's always tempting to overwork something, and yeah, so hopefully I won't do that this time.
So tell me, now I'm curious, you know, and you lead me to say that, even though I'm trying not to make those life too commercial, but you know, my passion about all the product I have, you open the door for me.
Sure.
You mentioned Chinese orange or Azure Blue. Can you share your experience of experimenting? You live, I mean, you just got it today or yesterday, you tried.
Yeah.
So what can you honestly give your experience? And if you say something very, very negative, we'll shut that.
You just cut it out. Yeah.
I'm kidding. We want the truth.
Yeah, it's always fun to try new colors because, you know, we kind of get in ruts. And here I had this image that was it had a lot of warmth to it. And I remembered seeing that Chinese orange. In fact, Andrew asked me, you know, what colors I was interested in. And I remembered being at, you know, that paint thing that we did in Laguna. And fortunately, I had taken pictures of the colors I was interested in.
Oh, yes, I heard that.
Yeah. So I took a picture of the tube. I was thinking ahead. And I find that the Chinese orange is very orange. It's very, very warm. And it's also pretty transparent, and it's got a nice tinting strength. So if I've mixed, you know, and I'm mixing flesh tones here. You don't need to look at me when I'm doing this. So mixing these flesh tones, I can get it really warmed up pretty quick with that Chinese orange right down there. There it is. So now I've got a lot of my normal palette colors out, but trying new things and seeing what they do and how they might integrate into my palette of colors is pretty nice. The other nice thing about the orange is that, I'm going to just put a little on my finger here, is that it's got such a nice tinting to it that I can wipe it down to a transparency and really get a good glow out of that. So I'm thinking not only is it going to be a good tinting color for flesh tones, but really nice when I'm wanting to do a sunset or something like that, where I want to use the transparency of my canvas to really make a nice glow.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, are you giving us? Yeah.
No, I'm playing. So I'm just
inspired to try the Chinese orange.
So, you know, just for the record, people don't know, people guess, and some of you know, I have zero academic training. I don't know how to draw, to do representation, but I love art supply, art so much. So I experiment, try. So short of being able to do realist, I like to show. So when you talk, it resonates, and I'd like to show what you express. You said a couple things. One, not specific to Chinese orange or paint. In general, about trying new colors. I have to admit that with my experience, with even my best friends, what you said is true. So I know some of my best friends, sometimes I give them some paint and it takes them 6 months, a year before they try it. There is, on one hand, there's an excitement to try new colors, like expressed. On the other hand, it's quite remarkable. There is a certain anxiety to use a new color. There seems so many artists out there are set in their ways, and they are afraid to use a different brand or different color or different thing, different than what they've learned when they were at school. So how can you, because you just had this experience, you said, I've wanted to do that, I didn't do it, and now I was forced at the deadline, I did it. How do you explain that fear of trying something new and the excitement at the same time?
Well, I'm gonna answer that in another roundabout way. In college, we had an assignment one time where it was a model group, and he had us paint on brown paper. It wasn't going to last a long time, and it took the preciousness out of what we were doing. And what we knew we were doing is we were just painting. We were just playing. And, you know, if you're working on a deadline for a specific purpose, or you're working on a commission, it's hard to decide you're going to play, and you tend to get a little more stifled and stymied. So even and especially when you're taking a workshop where you're doing something where the purpose is to learn, honestly, the worst students are the ones that come and they just still do things the way they've always done things, and they don't want to sort of take on new ideas. So whether you're learning somewhere and you're trying new things, or you just want to give yourself time to get in your studio, give yourself an assignment where you are trying new things and not just sort of relying on that crutch. So I think also I'm only trying 2 new paints right now, and that is your orange your Chinese orange, and then the Azure Blue. And so rather than confuse the issue and put in too many new variables, I want to see how it's going to behave with what I'm already comfortable with and knowledgeable about.
Okay.
So,
So now, to go back, that was a general question. Now go back, please, for the few minutes while we still have 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, can you go deeper? What has been your experience with this particular color? You know, it's transparent, nice color and all that. But did you find, is it inspiring to you? Did you discover? Do you think it was just an experiment? Or
yeah. No, it's definitely going to stay on my palette, especially the Chinese orange, because it does have such a nice transparency. It's like India yellow in that it's got a nice tinting strength, and you know, so a little bit will go a long way, but it'll give me a nice warmth. You know, one of the big problems, like with titanium white, is it cools everything down. So adding a little bit of this isn't going to change the value, but it will change the hue quite quickly, if that makes sense. If you know anything about color theory, then that makes sense. If not, I can explain it a little deeper. But hey,
we may come back with the question, but since we are out of time, we'll do another one more deep. I'm very interested, so I would have a lot of questions. But let's keep a few more minutes for the Azure, maybe. No?
Okay, but wait, before
please.
Before you do that, what you're doing right there, you painted a whole bunch of that orange on there.
Yeah.
Do you have a paper towel? And I want to see you wipe down to the canvas on that orange, because I want people to see what it does when you force it into transparency and how much it's going to kind of glow.
You mean I wipe it, you said?
Wipe it. Yeah, wipe it. See how, okay, now wipe really hard in one little area and show us what scrubbing that is how it's going to make a transparency. And then you can hold it right up to Andrew's camera.
Right near the white.
Ah.
Scrub it into white.
Okay, here.
Yep. So, yeah, look at that. See how that kind of glows, guys?
Oh.
So you're using the transparent nature of the paint to create kind of a glow. And if he added even a little bit of terp to that and wiped it some more, you would be left with a nice glowing area. So sometimes we think if we want something to get lighter, we need to add white to it. But sometimes we can add transparency and it'll also give you that same effect. So
here I'm going to try green for oil. Ha! See if that works.
Okay. And then let's see, you want me to talk about the Azure Blue, which admittedly I wasn't doing as much with because I was doing a lot of warms and skin tones. But the Azure Blue is very warm on the cerulean side, actually even warmer than that blue. Let's see. Point this
But
down.
you know, I said I want you to speak. You speak about whatever you want. I'm just curious. And I think because we've had a few quite famous artists in you know, which are part of OPA and other thing, which happens to totally have fallen in love with Azure Blue. Even artists that usually use a different brands, which are totally committed to other brand, and then they find Azure Blue. It's like, oh my God, I can't live without it. And I still not sure why. So
I think if I were going, I think it would be a great warm blue color for a sky color, so that when, you know, because skies, as they get towards the, can you see what I'm doing there? As they get towards the horizon, they're
the horizon. We lost someone?
Her phone paused a little bit. It might be ringing or something. She'll come back around.
Okay. So here, meanwhile, I'm painting, sort of. I'm playing, I should say. So.
Oh, we lost her. Okay, we'll see if we can get her back.
Okay. So anyway, it's fascinating. You know, I think we could have a longer maybe a Zoom meeting or something. You know what I'm thinking on who?
Oh,
I don't know what happened. Maybe turning my camera upside down turned it off.
You see, I learned a new trick to use my paper towel to paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good for my brush business, but it's okay. I'm not.
now we have just a few more minutes left before Instagram's going to kick us off. So I'll ask another studio question. Somebody asked how many colors you generally use in your paintings. And earlier, another person asked if you have a standard palette that you work with. So I think if we talk a little bit about that, and then in the last few minutes, we can circle back and we can just remind everybody how to connect with OPA and the upcoming events.
Okay, so, oh yeah. All right, let's go to palette really quick. So if you go to my website, SuzieBaker.com, and Suzie is S-U-Z-I-E. In fact, you could just do Suzie Baker workshop supply list. And on there are the typical colors that I use, as well as I have broken them down that if you are going to make a limited palette where you can mix nearly anything from these limited colors, then it's all right there. And that would be a lot easier than me trying to rattle them off right now. I will say, though, that there are times where I will go backpacking and I want a really small kit. Don't have it around here. Like I have, here it is. I have Casey Baugh's little Edge Pro. It's a tiny little thing. And this fits in a backpacking easel or backpacking backpack. And then I'll bring just a really limited palette. And there's a lot to be said for limiting your palette because you're really learning what a red, a yellow, a blue plus white can do and how you can make it do a lot of things. If you're familiar at all with what's traditionally known as the Zorn palette, where he has his vermilion or cad red light, yellow ochre, ivory black is used as the blue because it skews blue and white. And the flesh tones and the variety that you can get out of that is immense. So you can certainly research what colors artists use, but it's that old adage of miles of canvas, gallons of paint. You learn by doing and by trying. So, okay, and then I think you are going to just remind Jim one more time. Look, I have the flyer too, Pierre.
The what? Sorry?
The flyer.
The flyer. Yes. Is it backwards for you guys? Because I'm using my backwards camera.
It is backwards, yeah.
Yep. So all the information is on the website, oilpaintersofamerica.com. Let us give you an excuse to paint next Friday and Saturday. And then tune into our award ceremony before that, and you'll feel inspired by all the paintings that are winning awards with OPA. So we've got a lot of fun things going on, and we don't have to just sit at home or not be around people. And we're going to check in with people on all throughout the days at the top of every hour. So it'll be like a community, just like this is. Hi, Pierre, with Pierre and Andrew.
Yeah, so I would say I propose something. I'm going to give my legendary Go Paint, and then...
We need to get the drawing.
Yeah. So, no, because then after it's going to go. So, on that note, be inspired, Go Paint! And then we continue until we get shut down. But
we'll ask Cindy really quickly if Cindy has the winner of our drawing, and she will announce it, and then we can verbalize that.
What are you guys giving away?
We are giving away a little set of Sennelier oil paints.
Awesome.
All right. And I was just curious, just to show you, to illustrate what you just said for the people. This is the Chinese orange that I whipped, right? And this is the Chinese orange with white. You see, it's totally different colors.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and if you wanted to use that Chinese orange as a tone on your canvas to build something that you're going to want to really glow and leave some of that canvas. That would be a real effective way to deal with that.
Yep. So do we have a winner?
Our winner is Cele Cabrera, and Cele, you can send us a direct message to the @ArtSavoir-Faire account, and we'll get you all squared away.
Congratulations.
Bravo! Woo!
Bravo, yay.
Be careful, it's addictive,
Mm.
So use it with caution, because if you use it, you might be addicted, and then you won't be able to use anything else.
Okay, I'll
Very
be careful.
careful. Just kidding.
And with that, I think we should wrap up. We're getting our
We
countdown.
wrapped up, but we're getting a countdown. So last word, Suzie.
Just be good, be safe, and paint more and listen to less news.
Yeah.
You'll be a happier person.
Yeah. Paint. And
Paint,
see
paint,
you all
paint.
next week at OPA, something next week, whatever. We'll find a way to meet you there. I'll find my way there.
It's all on our website. All on our website.
Merci.
Merci.
Bon weekend. Happy Labor Day. Go paint! Woo!
Go paint!
Voilà.